19 rounds have passed, and we're finally at round 20. It's amazing how quickly the season has gone, but here we are. The final round, round 20, the Brazilian Grand Prix at the Interlagos circuit. I am your host, Dave Stroke, and let's get on with the finale. So first of all, let's go through, I should say, the race rating of the driver of the day. The race rating is given a 7.8 out of 10. And the driver of the day was given to Sam Thompson for his points finish. Unfortunately for him, that's in a way that's kind of irrelevant because with the last two teams that have announced their drivers, and Mercedes signing George Roque and Jay McKenzie, both going to Mercedes for 2013, and Lotus signing Will Niller, I should say, also returning to the series, and Robert Ionescu from Sauber. But we're here for the final round. There are a notable number of drivers who will not be racing in the series next season. Felix Sonntag, Sam Thompson, Sean Grant, Adam Wolf, I believe, as well. And if there are any others, that will come to my mind. But anyway, 71 laps into Interlagos, the final race of the season. The lap record set by Jack Boyman, and the tyre used will be the super soft, or the soft tyres, I should say. But anyway, here is the grid. Viggo Holst and Wade Cooper, two title contenders on the front row, on row 2, with the two Red Bulls of Florian Volker and Miguel Asgao. Joseph Willers, the other driver in title contention, in 5th place alongside Jiri Mata. George Roque in 7th with Alex Southgate in 8th. 9th place Rivki Hakkinen, and 10th place Jay McKenzie. And also Alex Southgate is one of the other ones who will not be racing next season. Kurosima de Rossa in 11th for Force India, with Robert Ionescu 12th. 13th place is Felix Sonntag, who surprisingly has not got a seat for next year, with Franco Gamba in 14th place. 15th place is Amar Khan, followed by Roman Quagg in 16th place. On to the 9th row of the grid, we have Sam Thompson and Oliver Glazebrook. 19th place, we have Roland Moitian and Lucas Levi, who's replacing Adam Wolf after his pretty horrendous crash at the American Grand Prix. And on the final row of the grid, it is the two virgins, Sean Grant and Zachary Fitzwater. So we'll now head on to the weather to see what that will be like for the race. And it will be bright sunshine, no rain. So the rain, in a way, I was kind of hoping for it because I thought it might spice up the action. But, oh well. Anyway, it will be dry, bright sunshine for the race. So it should be fascinating anyway. So now we shall head on to the grid for the final race of the season. And here we are, the last race of the season. Viggo Holst, championship leader. He has been leading for the majority of the season. Wade Cooper in 2nd alongside him. Can he take the title off him? The lights are about to come on. We now have 5 lights. And the lights are out, and we are underway for the final race of the season. Who is going to get the jump into the first corner? Is it going to be Viggo Holst or Cooper? And it's going to be comfortably be Holst. He takes the lead into the first corner. Cooper stays in 2nd. 2 Red Bulls behind in 3rd and 4th. They head through the first chicane. And Holst heads onto the short straight into the infield section. So Holst leads the 2 Red Bulls, 3rd and 4th. Joseph Willers in 5th. Jiri Mata in 6th. Roque in 7th. And the 2 Red Bulls are side by side as they head into turn 4. And Gal makes the move on Volker for P3. If you look at Willers in 5th place, Mata in 6th, Roque in 7th, 8th is De Rossa. He's made a fantastic start. McKenzie in 9th as well. But what a start from De Rossa. Moved up 4 places he has. And as you can see noticeable change of colour for the Mercedes. The Mercedes, in honour of Felix Sonntag's last race, are having a pink livery dedicated to Felix Sonntag's pink helmet. So that's why you're wondering why the Mercedes is in pink. So there you go. The Holst has got the lead, and he's already building a gap to Cooper in 2nd, with Gal in 3rd. We look at Willers in 5th. There's Mata in 6th. Roque in 7th. They head down towards the final couple of corners to end the first lap. Willers right behind Volker already as he heads into the last corner and coming onto the back straight, up the hill, going past the Brazilian crowd. And obviously, unfortunately, there are no Brazilians racing in the top tier this year, unlike last year where we had Bruno de Barros. As now Willers is coming on the inside, close to the wall, and he's now on the inside of Volker, and surely he's going to have the move done as they head into the first chicane. And is he going to do it? And he does. And now it's almost 3 wide there between Roque, McKenzie and De Rossa. And McKenzie's made it through past Roque, and now he's going to go round the outside and past De Rossa as well. What a move there by Jay McKenzie and Roque, who's got a hugely heavy fuel load, 43 laps, my god. Anyway, as he's now trying to defend in this moving about everywhere. De Rossa trying to defend from Roque. Ionescu almost makes contact with Roque there as he defends from from Ionescu, and Southgate right behind him. But we need to have a look at that move by McKenzie there. He was right behind De Rossa, and De Rossa managed to catch up to George Roque in front of him. So he'd already, I think, tried to make a move on the inside, and then De Rossa was making it on Roque, and then McKenzie was just nearly alongside. He was alongside Roque, so he'd already passed him at this point, and there was almost contact. And he passed Roque, and he managed to just hold it around the outside and take the position from De Rossa there. Good move by the Polish driver McKenzie. So Raheem and Roke will be moving up to Mercedes for next year, and there's Ionescu who's trying to make a move on Roke, and Roke who's trying to get past back past De Rossi. They're all moving him out all over the place on the straight, and there was very nearly contact. It was here there was, and oh my word, that was so close, and they just about got away with that. And Roke keeps the position there from Ionescu, with Southgate just behind him in 11th. As now we look currently at Waze Cooper in second, who's under pressure from Miklos Gauss. At the moment, Holst has built himself a comfortable lead up front. Everything is going well for him, because I mean, at the moment in time, Holst is going to win the championship. He just needs to really finish in front of the two Ferraris, and the championship is secure. And now here comes Gal, who's attacking Cooper, coming down the front straight. He's alongside him as Holst sets the fastest lap to confirm his pace, and Gal's surely going to have get it done into the first corner, and he does. And that is good news for Viggo Holst up front. He will be champion at the moment, but we've still got a long way to go. Now we're looking at the two Ferraris now battling each other. Now what will Ferrari say here? Will they can't really allow them to battle for much longer, otherwise they're going to lose the gap up front to Holst. So I imagine he probably maybe let Willows through, because I think Willows is the one in second place in the championship. And now Willows is going to try and make a move on Cooper coming down the front straight. Is he alongside him? I think he is, as they're coming up the hill down the front straight. Willows is on the inside, and he does make the move stick. Going into the Senna chicane, or the Senna S, whatever it's called. As now Willows comes now out of the chicane, and now coming down the back straight. He's already got a gap to Cooper. There's Yuri Mars just behind him, 5th. Ionescu up to 7th here, just ahead. He's actually got ahead of Volker, actually. That's interesting to know. I didn't realise he got ahead of Volker, and here's the move. And Ionescu made a decent move on the inside there of the Red Bull, and he made it stick. So good move there by Robert Ionescu. We'll be moving up to Lotus next season alongside Will Nella, returning to the championship. A very welcome return. Now here is Southgate now making a move on Volker for P8, and Volker's dropping down the order here, so he must have a heavy fuel load as well, because Southgate's only got 5 laps, and I couldn't quite see what it was. It just flashed off the screen too quickly. There's Dawson 11th, Cameron 13th, Quagg 14th, Roke all the way down to 15th, but he does have a heavy fuel load, so it's not really a surprise. As now we're looking at Riffy Harkstein in the Sauber ring in 15th position at the moment, and he's just set to come down into the final corner. And he comes now onto the front straight. Oh, he's got an electrical problem, and Ricky Harkstein has an electrical failure, and so he's just coming up to the pits. So I think fortunately it won't affect him too much if he can make it to the pits, and it looks like he is going to be able to get there. He still had 31 laps of fuel, so it looked like he was going on quite a long stint as well. But I suppose in a way that's kind of lucky that he's had that. So he goes into the pits for the first time, for his first pit stop of the race, and there's a car in front. There's a Force India that's made his first pit stop as well. Here we are looking at the Williams. I believe this is of Roland Moitin, I think, on the inside of Franco Gamba for P9 as they're coming down the straight. And no, in fact, it's not. It's actually Lucas Levi. I do apologise. And Levi makes it into 9th place. Levi, who's going to be making his return to the OC next season with Marussia alongside a new debut, Rick Yan. As now here is Mackenzie, who's running along the inside, and is going to make it stick into 10th place past Franco Gamba, and the answer is, well, Gamba's gone a little bit wide, so surely Mackenzie has it done, and yes he does, and Gamba's now down to 11th place, but he'll be pitting in a few laps time. His teammate is going to be in the pits this lap as well. Obviously Gamba will have a new teammate next year in William Duncan. Sam Thompson will not be racing this year, despite the fact that he's had a somewhat decent season. So he now comes into the pits for his first stop of the race. And let's see where he's actually going to be lapped, in fact, by the leader, Gal, who's now taking the lead from Holst, who's just come in for his first pit stop. A 5.3 second stop, so that's pretty quick from the McLaren crew. It's going quite well at the moment for Holst. There's not really been any problems. He's had a comfortable lead at the start. Looks like he's going to be going, is it going to be on the 2 stop or the 3 stop? I mean, there's only 15 laps, so I imagine, I think maybe 3 stop, I guess. I think it looks like a 3 stop, judging by it, but we'll see. And here comes out ahead of Florian Volker, so he comes out in P5 in clear air. Robert Ionescu comes in for his first stop for Sauber, 17 laps of fuel, so I think he's probably on the same kind of strategy that Holst is. And he comes out of the pits. He's going to drop down behind Franco Gamba. He's going to drop behind Roman Quagg in 11th place. And he just comes out just behind Franco Gamba there. And he comes out just ahead of Quagg. So Ionescu comes out in 11th. And he comes into the left-hander as Gamba. Oh, Gamba goes a little bit wide there. Has a little lock-up coming into the left-hander right there. Coming into turn 4. That'll lose him a bit of time. So there's Lucas Levi and running in 8th at the moment. So he's doing a somewhat decent job. As I said, replacing Adam Wall for this race after his crash at the American Grand Prix. As now Miklos Gal comes in for his first pit stop of the Grand Prix. And I imagine, will he be on the same strategy as Holst? I don't know. Will they put much fuel in? 37. Okay, so it looks like they're going to be going onto the 2-stop for Red Bull. So we'll see how that works out. And as Gal just waits for Jiri Mata, which will also be his final race. I forgot about him. Obviously, Mata only came in to replace Evan Byrne after he decided to leave during the season. But Mata will be retiring at the end of the season. Will be hanging up his racing gloves and his racing boots and his racing suit. Really, he's going back into retirement again. As he comes out the pits, he's going to come out. Looks like, is he going to come up behind Volker? That's not his car, is it? No, that's the. No, in fact, that's Gal actually. He's just come out in front of Volker there. Just realised that this Marta comes out in 6th place. There's Robert Ionescu, who's right behind Franco Gamma in the Toro Rosso, who I believe is pitting soon. Ionescu is on the inside. Gamma's not really putting up much of a fight, so I imagine he'll have this move done and dusted. He's on the inside, and he gets it completed pretty easy there. So he's up into 9th position as they now come into the infield section of the track, and he comes through. He's running in 9th, so he's got Jay McKenzie in front of him. Here we are looking at Viggo Holst, who's coming up behind Waze Kuba in the Ferrari. He's still got a few more laps before he makes his first pit stop, so Holst is closing up on him now that he has fresher tyres. He's not going to make the move here, but I imagine he'll do it down the back straight, and as you can see there, he sets the fastest lap of the race at 1:12.6. He's now right behind Kuba. He's got the slipstream, and surely he's going to have this move done coming into turn 4. And Holst has got the slipstream. He's now on the inside. Surely the move is going to be done and dusted unless Kuba decides to put up a fight, because he is in title contention. But is he going to try and do anything? Holst doesn't quite actually make the move stick. So he's still behind Kuba, but I don't imagine he'll be there for long. And as they come into the infield section, and now Joseph Willows comes in for his first pit stop of the race for Ferrari. As now here is Holst right behind Kuba once again, and there was nearly contact there as they're coming onto the front straight, and Holst surely is going to have the position on Kuba coming into the first turn, and yep, he retakes the lead, and Holst is currently looking in a pretty good position right now. At the moment, there's nothing really that the two Ferraris can do to match Holst. He's really on it today, and he needs to be at the moment. Obviously, Holst will be champion because he's ahead of both Ferraris, and that's really all he needs to be at the moment. And as we look at Willows coming out the pits, where is he going to come out on track? Is he going to come out ahead of Jiri Mata? There's Volker, I think, who's just going in front, who I don't believe has actually still made a stop yet. As now he does in fact come out ahead of Jiri Mata, so that's important. So he's up into 5th. He's down to 5th place, I should say. At the moment, Holst lead. Kuba now dropped to 2nd. Gal in 3rd. Volker in 4th. Willows in 5th. Jiri Mata 6th. Mackenzie 7th. Ionescu completing the points in 8th at the moment. De Rossa in 9th. Roke in 10th. Southgate 11th. Carr 12th. Roman Cog in 13th, but he's going to pit, so he'll be dropping down a position. Lucas Levi will be 14th. Well, he'll now be 13th. Santo will be 14th as we look at Quag coming out of the pits. Now Glazebrook up to 15th. As Roman Quag, who'll be upgrading in a way, he'll be going to Williams for the 2013 season. He has had certainly quite a good one this year, so he does in a way deserve a move to a higher team, as he's now going to drop just behind Sean Grant, and there's Rivki Farkazane trying to make himself a recovery after his electrical problem that he suffered earlier. Waze Kuba now comes out of the pits for Ferrari, and it's a 5.6 second stop. He comes out of the pit, so where does he come out on track? It'll be interesting to know. He's going to come out behind Jay McKenzie. Where will he come out? Will he come out ahead of Robert Ionescu for, and no he doesn't actually, he comes out just behind Ionescu there, so that's not exactly going to help him too much, because I don't know how much of a fight Ionescu is going to put up, but he comes out just behind him, and he comes out ahead in 8th place. And now here is Franco Gamma, who is, I believe, finally made a stop, and now he's making a move on Sean Grant for 19th position, and he's now on the inside, and he makes it stick up into P19. Not been Gamba's greatest years in his first season in Formula 1, but he still obviously will be racing for Toro Rosso next season alongside William Duncan, his new teammate, so I'll hopefully have some more luck this year. But anyway, Viggo Holst comes into the pits for a stop and 24 laps. That won't be enough to go to the end, so as I suspected, he is going to be doing a 3-stop strategy. He comes out of the pits, and that is, I believe, the Lotus crew ready for, I believe it's probably Jay McKenzie, as Willows currently moves up into 2nd place. And then Viggo Holst does come out of the pits, and there's a Williams in there. Vrelo Moichin comes out as well. And Holst is going to come out, looks like, just ahead of his teammate, Jiri Mata, as he comes out of the pits. And does he come out ahead? Yes, he does. So, I mean, had he come up behind, there would have been team orders for sure on Jiri Mata to let Holst through, but that doesn't matter right now. Mackenzie set to come out of the pits after his stop, and it was for him as I thought. 6.5 second stop, a little bit slow, but he's going to come out in, looks like P8, unless Alex Southgate can have anything to do with it. And he does now come out of the long pit exit, and he is in fact still in P8. Southgate just behind him there, coming down the straight. As now here's Miklos Gal, currently in the lead, but he obviously will be pitting once more before the end of this race. Now here's a battle for 16th between Felix Sontag, Franco Gamba, and Sam Thompson, the other Toro Rosso behind. Gamba's on the inside of Sontag coming into the first corner, and he makes it stick. It's not been Sontag's race so far. He does still have 12 laps, so he's obviously on a heavy fuel load as well, and it's not exactly helped him. He's kind of in the same boat as George Roque, and as the heavy fuel load hasn't really helped either driver, to be honest. So probably a bit of a mistake there from both crews. As now Thompson's all over the back of Sontag, and now he does make a move. It's a bit late, but Thompson does make it stick. That was certainly late, but he made it stick anyway. He moves up into P18, P17 I should say, as now Robert Ionescu comes in for another stop. I believe he'll have one more to go to the end, I think, unless he tries to go to the end. And let's see, 20 laps, yep, he'll have one more stop. And let's see where he comes out onto the track. And 5. No, it's not 5.1, that's 6.1 I should say. 6.1 second stop, and he comes out of the pits. And where is he going to come out on track? Is he going to come out ahead of Mackenzie? That will be very interesting to see. Those two have been a bit of a battle all race. And there it is. And Ionescu is just about going to come out ahead of Mackenzie. So Ionescu, if he can hold it into the next corner, which he does, has jumped Jay Mackenzie in the stops. That's important there for Ionescu. And Mackenzie, who could actually overtake his teammate if he finishes high enough in the points, overtake his teammate George Roque in the standings. But now here's a battle once again between Joseph Willis and Viggo Holst, the title contenders. And now Holst making a move on the inside down the front straight. And is he going to make another movement? Is he going to make another overtake into the first corner? He's side by side, and he does in fact make a stick, and that will be a real sickening blow to Joseph Willis. And see Holst just going away there. There's just nothing Ferrari can do. Holst and McLaren are on it today, and it's just not gone particularly well for them. Volker now comes out of the pits, a 6.7 second stop, and that is his only stop of the race, obviously, because he's got 34 laps of fuel, only 30 laps to go, so he'll be going to the end. I don't know how well that is going to work out, but we'll see. So he comes out in, it looks like P8, so he's going to come out just ahead of George Roque in the Lotus, and he comes out on track and still in the points. And now here is Viggo Holst, who is caught up to Miklos Gal already, and Miklos Gal and Viggo Holst is on a mission here to hunt down Miklos Gal. He's on the inside. This is a battle for the lead, and Viggo Holst is going to take the lead from Miklos Gal, and he's in a pretty good position right now, as there's a whole bunch of traffic just ahead of Viggo Holst and Gal up in front. But for Viggo Holst, he really is on it today. He's doing everything he can to make sure he wins this, as now Southgate is battling with Rivki Harkrazane for 12th place. And is Southgate going to make the move stick? It's still just about side by side. And while they're battling, they've got Viggo Holst lapping Roman Quag in front of them. As we look at Robert Ionescu in the other Sauber making another stop, and he'll be going to the end of this race. How quickly is this stop going to be? It's a 6.6. And let's see where he comes out onto the track. And he's going to come out in P8. He's going to come out behind Volker. Is he going to come out just ahead of Kirosima de Rossa? Now comes round the long pit exit, and he comes out in 8th place, just behind the Lotus there. I think that was Oliver Glazebrook. Currently running the last position. I just realised we actually still have 22 cars left in this race at the moment, so that is quite something. We haven't had all 22 cars finish a race since, I believe, 2006. There was one race there, I can't remember which one, as it was quite a while ago, that had all 22 still remaining. Viggo Holst comes in for his final pit stop of the season, 6.1 second stop, somewhat decent stop from the McLaren pit crew, but they just need to be effective because Holst has got everything under control at the moment. And he comes out of the pits, and he comes now down to the long pit exit. And where is he going to come out onto the track? He comes out in P3, he's going to come up behind Volker, and oh my word, that was very, very close there between the two Toro Rosso drivers of Thompson and Gamba, as Gamba was going into the pits. And they nearly ran into the back of each other, and that would have really kind of just summed up Gamba's season right there had that happened, but fortunately it didn't. I guess Thompson didn't suspect that Gamble was going to slow down there as he was about to make a move, and whoo, really had to slow down to avoid him. Almost went into his back, and then obviously they would have had to double stack then if they decided to go in the pits that lap anyway. So that would have been an even more disaster for Toro Rosso, but they fortunately got away with one there. Almost had one like they did, like Brendan Hartley and Gasly did in the real life F1. That would have been bad. But anyway, Franco Gamble comes in for his final stop of the season. And he comes into the pits, puts a new fresh set of tyres on, 22 litres of fuel in the car, wearing also a pink helmet as well. 6.6 second stop, and he comes out onto the track. Toro Rosso haven't really shown particularly much pace this weekend, as now here we are looking at Viggo Holst, as now Miguel Scow has made his final stop, and Viggo Holst is now coming up to the Ferrari of Joseph Willows in front of him. The battle for the lead, and essentially the move that will probably decide the championship right here, as now Holst is on the inside of Joseph Willows coming down the front straight, and Joseph Willows will be pitting as well, and Viggo Holst makes the move stick for P1, and everything is going swimmingly for him at the moment. It's looking very good for him indeed, as Miguel Scow finally comes in for his final stop of the race, and now so does Willows, but he's got Viggo Holst very far out in front of him, and there's nothing really much he can do about it now unless Holst has a problem, and then he could still win it, but at the moment it's not looking like it's happening for Ferrari. McLaren have got it in the bag. I mean, some people were saying how McLaren could have won it last season and didn't after their car suffered after Evan Byrne had a number of collisions, and I think technical failures as well, but I mean he was leading last season, and unfortunately it didn't work out for him, as now we're looking at the Ferrari. And the battle for second place is now Gal trying to make a move on Kuba, and has he got it done? And that could be the final stinger in the tail for Ferrari, and there it is. Oh, well, I mean, Kuba's pitting anyway, but Miguel Scow up into second place. Now Waze Kuba's going to try and attack him back, going to the left-hander, and Gal is not going to let him do that. And Kuba goes a little bit wider, and Gal has it done, but Gal kind of really helping Viggo Holst at the moment, as Sam Thompson comes into the pits. And now here we are looking at the Ferrari of Waze Kuba, who's dropped down to 7th obviously after the pit stop. And he now comes along the inside of Robbie Inescu into the first corner, and he makes it into 6th place. And he's now actually got Jiri Massa not too far in front of him in 5th place, which he could easily still get. As now we're looking at, well, just the track there. Not much guys happening there, as we're looking at Jiri Massa currently running in 4th place, and he won't be running in it for much longer, and he spins coming up the hill, and Jiri Massa, who was set to take a top 4, could possibly get nothing, as now he's dropped down to 7th place, and he could drop down even more if he's not careful. He's on the position of the hill. If anyone goes wide there, he could easily clatter into him. He now dropped down to 8th place in the last point spot, and he now finally does rejoin Jiri Massa, who could have had a top 4, as unfortunately he's kind of spoiled that in his final race in the OC by going off at the top of the hill there. I mean, it's an unusual error from Jiri Massa. I mean, I know he had the Red Bull, of Volker and Kuba behind, but still, that was an error which you don't usually, or very rarely actually, or very rarely have ever seen from him. But eventually, Jiri Massa rejoins in 8th place, so at least he'll get a point in his final race, because Roke isn't close enough. But here we go. Viggo Holst, currently leading the race, is about to come through on his final lap of the Grand Prix, and here we are, the final lap on the screen right in front of you, and Viggo Holst is set to take his first ever championship in the OC, and for McLaren a much needed championship after the disappointment at the end of last season. But Viggo Holst, you could say, probably has deserved it. Many people have said he was quite underrated at what he did at Force India, and he now finally got the chance to jump up into McLaren, and he really has taken it very well indeed. He's led for the majority of the season. He could have easily won the race in America, but unfortunately things didn't go particularly well for him. And but I mean, you could say that that incident with Volker and Joseph Willows in the Korean Grand Prix probably decided the championship as well, as Holst is now coming up to a Mercedes here of, I think that's Felix Sontag, because he goes round the outside of the corner and takes it past him. But Holst, who has led the championship for the majority of it, and had he lost it today, it would have been looked pretty bad on McLaren, but he hasn't done, as Viggo Holst is now coming up the hill on the final lap of the final race of the OC season, and Viggo Holst is now coming down the front straight, and Viggo Holst comes round onto the pit straight, and he is your 2012 GP4 OC champion. Congratulations to him, and there is the graphic right there to confirm it. Your champion, and Vigahos becomes the first name to ever take the championship as well, as a little fact as well. Moichin comes across the line in 19th. Second place will be Mikhail Scow. Good end of the season for him. Glaze comes across the line in 20th position. Sean Grant in 21st. George Roke comes home in a disappointing 9th. Joseph Willis unfortunately loses the title with third place. Couldn't unfortunately win it. Southgate in 11th. Levi comes home in a not a bad 12th place, I guess. He'll be back in the OC next season. Waze Cooper, who's recovered up to P4 after he remarked a spin late on, he comes round onto the pit straight, and he will take 4th position. And we have the Virtual Series fits all 22 cars, and that means 22 cars have finished, as there goes Carr in 13th, Mark Rosine in 14th, Velko will come across the line in 5th place. But we have had 22 cars finish this race. Now that is very, very unusual. I mean, that will happen once in a blue moon. Inez, who comes across the line, takes 6th in his last race for Sauber. Mackenzie in 7th, Quag in 15th, Gamma in 16th. Martha takes home the last point spot, 8th place, and Sam Thompson, unfortunately, we won't be seeing him next year, but he comes across the line in 17th place. He's had a pretty good season, so he can go out on a high and away. But there it is, Vigahos, your champion for 2012, and it's another championship for McLaren. Their first since 2008 with Joseph Willis, so well done to them. Vigahos winning with Nicholas Gowan 2nd, Joseph Willis 3rd, Waze Cooper 4th, Florian Velker 5th, Ionescu 6th, Mackenzie 7th, and Yuri completing the points. In 8th place with the following drivers being a lap down: George Roke, Chirosima De Rosa, Alex Southgate, Lucas Levi, Armor Carr, Ricky Hartgreslane, Roman Quag, Franco Gamma, Sam Thompson, with Felix Sontag, Rilla Moichin, Oliver Glazebrook, Sean Grant, and Zachary Fitzorder being 2 laps down. And now we'll finally look to the fastest lap of the race, which was set by Vigahos. There you go. Vigahos sets the fastest lap. So clean sweep, pole, win, and fastest lap. Vigahos in 1st, Willis 2nd, Cal 3rd, Cooper 4th, Marta 5th, Inescu 6th, Southgate 7th, Mackenzie 8th, Falcon 9th, Harkes in 10th, with De Rossa 11th, Levi in 12th, Carr 13th, Roke in 14th, Gamma 15th, Grant 16th, Sontag in 17th, Thompson 18th, Roman Quag 19th, Moitin 20th, Zachary Fitzgerald 21st, and Oliver Glazebrook 22nd position. Excuse me. And here we are. Here are your final driver standings for the 2012 season. Vigahos, your championship winner on 96 points, with Joseph Willis 9 points behind with 87, Wage Cooper 3rd with 83, Lauren Vogel 4th with 77, Miguel Scow 5th with 71, Roke 6th with 59, Mackenzie just behind with 57, Yuri Martin 8th with 51, Alex Southgate 9th with 35, Evan Byrne 10th still with 33, Inescu 11th with 22, Ricky Hart was in 12th with 20 points, Santos in 13th with 14, Felix Santo 14th with 12, Armakar 15th with 12 as well, Moichin 16th with 11, De Rossa 17th with 10, Quag 18th with 9, Franco Gamma and Wolf with 6, Warner with 5, Fitzgerald with 3, Glacier with 1, Mocho, Grant, Levi not scoring points, McLaren winning the Constructors by 15 points ahead of Ferrari, Red Bull on their own in 3rd, Lotus in 4th, Mercedes in 5th just ahead of Sauber, and Force India in 7th just ahead of Toro Rosso, and a narrow gap as well to Williams in 9th, Caterham 10th, and Marussia in 11th place. Well, that is the season over. I mean, it's amazing where these last 20 weeks or so have gone, but there it is. Your season is over. And wow, it has been some season. In my opinion, it's been the best one so far. But anyway, I'd like to give a few thank yous at the end of the video. I'd like to give a thank you to Yuri for hosting once again what has been a fantastic season. I'd like to give a thank you to Az for making all the nice fancy graphics before the race. I'd like to give a thank you to Felix for all the facts and all the all-time standings and whatnot that he's done. I'd like to thank every one of you guys also for signing up for what has been another fantastic season. And I cannot wait for what 2013 is going to bring. It's going to be absolutely amazing. But again, thank you to everyone for signing up. Thank you to Yuri, thank you to Az, thank you to Felix. Thanks to obviously for Robert as well for helping me run the OC account. Thanks everyone, and that has been 2012 season. So until 2013 preseason testing, I will see you then. I've been George Roke, and I've enjoyed the season. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in 2013.